Hello everybody! Are you having problems hearing chords and are unable to differentiate between the two most important musical tonalities in the world, namely major and minor? Well, this video seeks to fix that problem, and the solution lies within a few different methodologies that I've conjured up to make things a little bit easier, or at the very least, a little bit more clear. But before we get into any of that, we have to get into what makes a chord major or minor. And we're going to start with how a major chord is derived from a major scale. That's where the chord comes from. So we're going to start by playing the C major scale. It's going to be 7 notes, starting with C, going to D, E, F, G, A, B, and then back up to C. All right? That's the tonality of the major scale. Now each of those letters can also be assigned a number or a scale degree. Alright, so C would be 1, D would be 2, E would be 3, F would be 4, G would be 5, A would be 6, B would be 7, and C would go right back to 1. Now the major chord comes from slapping the root or 1, the 3rd, and the 5th all together. So let's take a look at that one more time. 1, 3, 5. And that 1, 3, and 5 can be played anywhere. Those are all major chords right there, just moving around in a parallel motion. And even when you move them around in all different ways, the major tonality creates a lot of color when you move it around, when you modulate it. Modulation's a key change, by the way. When you move those sounds around, it's almost as if you're carrying people through every different musical universe that you can imagine, right? So there's a lot of weight attached to the major chords, especially when they move around. Now the major chord is, of course, the foundation of the major scale. So this would be G major. That cracked out a little bit, but we're going to keep that in there. That's A major, C major. Alright, so spending time with the tonalities is very, very, very important. Probably the most important thing that you're going to be doing. Let's hang out in C for a little bit. That is a C major chord. Okay, we'll just play the triad. Alright, it has a very nice, almost like an uplifting type of sound, right? Feels like I'm on a cloud, waiting for the big cloud bus to pick me up and bring me to a cloud castle, a cloudy castle. And also, kind of reminds me of sunlight, right? So blue skies, maybe a few clouds, sunlight, you know, brightness. That's kind of where we're getting at here. It's a very bright sound. Alright, especially when you start, you get into other tonalities there, right? Well, actually, this is all actually the same tonality, but you know what I'm talking about. Alright, this sound can also be very triumphant. Like you just beat a Mario stage, right? The most common way of identifying, right, major and minor is by using the terms happy and sad. Now, I just think it's kind of silly to use happy and sad because I've cried like a little baby to many songs in a major tonality. All right, I won't name them because I don't want you going and looking up those songs and saying, "Man, Mike, you're a little bitch. Why are you crying to that?" Well, guess what? Sometimes, you know, very tender movements here. Tender sounds can make you feel a certain way. So it doesn't necessarily have to be happy or sad, alright? Now that could be one of many adjectives you use to describe the major tonality, but for now I think a much better word would be bright or sunlight. Just think of things that this sound reminds you of, alright? It could make you think of digging a grave. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's different. We all have our different ways of experiencing the world, alright? So, just take what you will with your descriptions and cram it up your you-know-what. Now the minor chord is derived from the major chord. So we have to alter the major chord to get the minor chord. Now listen to the root, third, and fifth of the major chord once more. Pay very, very, very close attention to the note in the middle, all right, the third. Watch. Root, third, fifth. That's the third. That's the note that we're going to be changing. We're going to flatten it. All right, so we now have C minor by putting the root, flat third, and fifth together, all right, to give it that nice minor tonality, right? So one more time, we have root, flat third, and fifth. Now the minor chord here sounds a lot moodier, a lot darker. And when you move it around, it almost has even more weight than the major chord, right? Has a darkness to it, as if we're just about to enter Dracula's castle during his most stressful time of year, during tax season. Tax season is very stressful for Dracula, right? And every other hard-working Transylvania. But listen to that sound, right? Cloud coverage now is not white and poofy, right? This is a dark cloud bus, all right? So all the clouds are turning black, they're turning gray. Smog fills the air, right? Visibility in the sky is null and void. We can't see any celestial bodies. We are in a void. Darkness is the operative word. You can say sad, but a lot of sad songs make me happy, so go figure. It's a walking, talking paradox, this Michael RomanOva that you're watching here, all right? So make sure you get that instilled into your head, because we're going to need to know this by the end of this video. And there's a reason why I'm being so repetitive with this, because the only way you're going to get good at this is if you repeat it a million times over again. Darkness, sadness, adjectives that describe things that are darkened or diminutive, something that puts your awareness in a somber state. Remember that. So now that we know the basics between hearing a major chord and a minor chord, it's time to elaborate a little bit further and get a little bit more nitty-gritty into this by describing some methodologies or different ways to make this a little bit easier for you. Or like I said at the beginning, a little more clear. Method number one is zoning in on the third. So as we know, a major chord or a minor chord are both made of the root, third, and the fifth. In the case of the major third, we have a note that is 2 whole steps away from its root, right? So if we have a C, we just go up 2 whole steps, and we have ourselves a major third. And that's the sound of the major third. There's a lot of different attributes that we can kind of give to that. But let's go over the minor third as well. The minor third is basically that. You basically have a step and a half between those 2 notes. So you have to know the distances between the major third and the minor third. And really you should know the distances between all the notes. These are called intervals, by the way. And intervals are just smaller versions of chords, right? 2 notes being smashed together. And it's basically a measurement between those 2 units. Now, if you haven't yet, go watch my video on how to hear minor and major thirds. And this will basically solve your dilemma basically through this entire video, or at least this method. Alright, so go watch that video. I did a whole thing, a whole rundown on it, and you're going to be happy that I sent you there. Alright, did you get that link I sent you? You better click that link, because it has everything you need to help you on it. Some major third examples include the first 2 notes of When the Saints Go Marching In.
Now when the saints go marching in.
The first 2 notes of Mozart's Piano Concerto number 16 in C major. And a bunch of Mario coins. one minor third example I'm going to include here is the lullaby. If you just stop it right there, it basically makes us sad and it makes us sleepy. Alright, so bores us to tears, rocks us into a sweet, sweet, sweet dream state where all of our problems seem to go away, but sometimes when you dream of stuff that's really scary, like big sandworms and giant dinosaurs trying to kill you, it's not always nicer to be asleep now, is it? Alright, anyway, just go watch the damn video, will ya? One of the toughest things about hearing full chords as opposed to just intervals is that we have two intervals that we have to hear stacked on top of each other. So we have double the hearing that we have to do as opposed to hearing just a major third or a minor third, right? If we have in a major chord, well, we do have in a major chord, we have a major third with a minor third stacked on top. So C and E, or the root and the third, has E and G on the top, the third and the fifth. So root third is a major third, and then third and fifth is a minor third. And both of those smack together gives us the full tonality. Now, minor, we have the opposite, okay? We have a minor third followed by a major third, which can get kind of confusing, all right? Minor third, major third. It's the two musical worlds creating perfect harmony with one another. Alright, so one more time, we have the major third with a minor third stacked on top to make the major chord. The minor third with the major stacked on top is the minor chord. Alright, so being able to hear these intervals stacked on top of each other will be the key unlocking the secrets of major and minor chords. And if you can't get it immediately, don't worry, we have more on the way. Alright y'all, let's get into the next method that we're going to talk about here, and that is to embrace the tonality and learn how to hear the essence or the vibe of each of these musical worlds, major and minor. Since major and minor are sort of the cornerstones of Western music, it's imperative that we know what those tonalities are. By tonality, I mean that you can have multiple major and minor chords within any progression, but it's in one key, right? So if you have a song that's kind of like this, that's a major tonality, even though we have C, D minor, and G within the whole thing. We have a minor chord within a major tonality, right? That's a tonality. Going away and then back to major. Let's just stay on D minor, right? That's a minor tonality, but not when we compare it to the first chord that we play. If we play the D minor first, that's the minor tonality. So you have to understand the vibe, grasp that internally, and try to make it so known that it's at an intuitive level. Alright, now obviously a good way to experience tonality is by playing all sorts of different songs, right? And in this video I'm not going to go too deep into this list of songs that you can find. I'm only going to give you a couple different examples. For the major, you have Kumbaya, right? We've all heard that. An African hymn that hit the public's consciousness probably sometime after the 1960s. Alright? Kumbaya, my Lord, Kumbaya. Everybody hold hands. The world is healing, right? But the world can't heal unless you know how to hear the difference between the major and minor chords. So that's a very large weight to carry upon your shoulders, and I am administering that weight, by the way, and that's fine. I'm going to be the bad guy here, but you need to be the good guy and save the world, not me. Here we go. I'm doing enough with this. I'm singing Kumbaya here. That's going to fix all the world's problems no matter what, alright? Check it, G. That's what's going to happen. Anyway, some minor examples that we have, right? Actually, no, there's another major example. Forget what I'm saying. Don't listen to anything I'm saying. Just turn this video off immediately. Here we go. Imagine by John Lennon, right? You know the song. Both those chords are major chords. Another song, which is kind of funny because it's a very similar message, akin to Kumbaya, right? Imagine all these things went away that will never go away because human nature forces those things into existence, right? One of my favorite things about that song is listening to political commentator Ben Shapiro's opinions about John Lennon's Imagine. It's one of the funniest things I've ever heard in my entire life. Not necessarily because I agree wholesale with what he says, but it's just so funny to hear this guy bicker about a song. It's just really funny. You gotta look that up. Just look up Ben Shapiro, John Lennon, right? Alright, but anyway, enough of the utopia nonsense here. That's the major tonality, alright? And the more major songs you listen to, the more familiar you're going to become with that tonality. Or like I said, the vibe, alright? The underpinning of what everything is. Let's give you an example for minor, just because I've been, kind of neglecting that. But let's go for Moonlight Sonata by Beethoven. You know what? I'm just going to let you listen to it because I'm not about to play it on the guitar right now. There's also a song by Sting called Love is Stronger Than Justice on his 10 Summoner's Tales album. Kind of goes like this. Cool song, great album in general. Vinnie Colaiuta on the drums, playing some of the greatest rhythms of all time. But we are listening for the tonality here. Let's not get distracted. But I suggest listening to that album if you want a fulfilling sonic experience, all right? And you get a lot of minor tonality, particularly with that song. And that's basically just an A minor triad just going up. It might be G minor. I don't know. I don't really care what the actual song is. It's about the tonality, all right? We don't have to be specifically correct here with that kind of stuff. This is about the broad brush. The tonality is the broad brush, okay? And that gets me into the next part of what I'm talking about here. And that is the old question, the philosophical question that's been burning in the minds of every human being since thoughts like this started to happen, probably during Plato's time, or perhaps before, during the Atlantean philosophical renaissance of yore, whatever the hell that means. But I'm talking about this question. Which came first, the chicken or the egg? And I'm about to answer this in a very direct manner here. The chicken is the song. The egg is the essence, the tonality, the vibe, the origin, the vitality. So the egg is major or minor, or the egg is whatever sound you're trying to describe. It's the untapped potential which might become a rooster someday, a big brave cock. That's what I'm talking about. And basically, this whole question really kind of sums up the whole musical world now, doesn't it? And of course we can get into a 9-hour philosophical conversation as to why it could be the chicken that came first. It could be the egg that came first because, well, you need a creator to create the egg in the first place and blah, blah. But then the egg is required to hatch the chicken. So which one is it, But I'm going to say that the egg is the primordial soup, the id in Freudian terms, the underpinning of everything that has potential that we can grab from as long as we tune into it, okay? And we have to just know that it's there. Know that major and minor exist at all times during our lives and beyond our existence as well. Okay? Now, I'm not going to get any deeper than that because I think We need to give ourselves a break from any of that real hard line thinking. I'm supposed to make things easier, not more difficult, and instead we're making it all esoteric and, you know, woo-woo and obscure. So I'm not going to go down this road any further, okay? And after you get through all that philosophical mumbo-jumbo, all the questions and the burning realities of what music is, it all boils down to my favorite method of all, and that is the brute force method. Exactly. Just hitting yourself in the head with a sledgehammer of minor and major tonalities. Maybe you want to go to your nearest concert band building, maybe in a school, right? You go into any high school or any kind of college, there's going to be a room that houses all sorts of orchestral instruments, right? So you might want to go in there and you might want to hit yourself in the head with a tuba. You might want to hit yourself in the head with a trombone. You might want to hit yourself in the head with a guitar, just like El Kabong did in that cartoon series. Classic cartoon, by the way. What I'm saying here is that the brute force method is the best way of learning anything, all right? And it's pretty much that old saying, you know, pick yourself up by your bootstraps, kid, it's time to work. And that's what it boils down to. It's the unfortunate reality, but you need to spend copious amounts of time learning these things, right? So what we're going to do today is I'm going to show you how to do that. All right, I'm going to show you how to use the brute force method to the best of your ability, or the best of my ability, whichever one it is. It doesn't really matter at this point. You're the one learning the chords, right? So basically what we're going to do is we're going to sit here, right? And I'm going to play a major chord, and I'm just going to say major. That's that simple. I'm going to do it 10 times in a row. Watch, and you're going to watch here. You're going to watch me sit here and do this, all right? You're going to sit there and watch me do this. How about that? Here we go. Ready? Major. 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 And a major. And a major. Not a manger. Christmas is over. And a major once again. This is G major, by the way. Major, 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 major. That was more than 10 times, but guess what? Hopefully you got the point across. I think I have another thing in store for you too that's also going to really hammer this point into your head. Enjoy. Major. 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 Now, wasn't that fun? Now let's do the same thing with the minor chords. Ready? We're going to play and say a minor chord. This time it's going to be G minor. Here we go. Ready? Minor. Minor. Minor third. Minor. 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 The only way through this is the brute force method, in which we're going to do this a million times over again. Minor. No frills attached, it's just a minor chord. Minor tonality. Minor, it's the essence of all life. Minor sadness, maybe a little bit of darkness, maybe a little bit of hoo-ha, man, it's minor. Does anybody remember minor? Because it's a fleeting memory of mine. It's a minor chord, and we're going to remember it for the rest of our lives, no matter what happens. And we can't stop the fun there now, can we? Here's more minor, and a 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 minor, not a 49er. Another minor. Minor. Minor, 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 minor. Alright y'all, hopefully that helps, but guess what? It's quiz time, and you will be graded on your efforts. If you don't get through this quiz with a 100% accuracy, and if I keep getting hair in my mouth, I'm gonna die, Something bad is going to happen if you don't get a perfect score on this, all right? I'm not going to send you that Arby's sandwich in the mail through FedEx like you asked me to. You're not going to get any of that kind of stuff. No rewards unless you get 100%. I'm going to have nothing but mean things to say on the other side if you don't get 100%, okay? But don't let this discourage you, right? Prove me wrong. That's the ultimate way of getting revenge on your poor ability to hear these chords, okay? You want to get revenge on the stuff that you're bad at. That's the whole point. This channel is to bring you up out of the muck. You fall into quicksand. Well, guess what? I'm going to help you back up. But it's up to you to get back in your car and drive to the airport. Now for this quiz, I'm either going to play a major chord or a minor chord. So you have a 50-50 shot of getting each of these right, even if you have no idea what the hell you're doing. So, hey, this is a 50-50 answer sheet here. A or B? Is it major or is it minor? Very simple. Now, we're going to want to get 100% on this, so really, really pay attention to all of the things that I've been telling you throughout the course of this video. The 3 methods, all right? So, picking out the thirds, picking out the tonality, and then bludgeoning yourself with the sound for hours upon end. That's my favorite part, by the way. Now, here's the quiz. We're going to start with the very first one. And just give me a moment while I black myself out, and I will give you the very first chord. It sounds a little bit bright. It sounds a little bit sunshiny. It almost sounds like I'm happy. That's a major chord. On to the next one. Black me out, please. That is an F sharp major chord, and if you guess that, wow, you are right. And if you got the other one correct, you're at 100% already. If you got both of them wrong, tisk, 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 tisk. We're gonna have to fix you up. Let's get on to the third one. Here we go. Blackout. It's like a sad version of Kumbaya. Not quite as happy as the sunshine and rainbows. A little darker. It's a minor chord, and it's C sharp minor. It's Beethoven as well. Alright, black me out during this one for increased dramatic effect. Jimmy, black me out, alright? For the next chord that is about to happen right here and right now, let's check out what it is. Here we go. It's like the difference between night and day, and this is clearly daytime. It's a major chord on an E. Rising, and the morning dew is falling on the birds. It's going to be a good day, folks. Let's get on to the next one. Here we go. Black me out there, Jimbo. You know what to do. Jimbo's my producer in the back. Here we go. That tonality is very, very, very ominous and, frankly, a little bit scary, alright? It's an F minor, the most beautiful minor chord in the world. Alright, everybody, we got one more. Black me out once more times. That is a minor chord, folks. And what a sad way to end off this quiz on the darker of the two worlds, but I think it's fitting, especially if you got anything less than 100%. This is the perfect mood and vibratory environment for you. Alright, we're going to be playing a lot of minor chords if you failed the quiz. Alright everybody, thanks so much for coming on this journey. Hopefully this video has been helpful. I'm here to help you out. If you'd like to support the channel more, please go to www.patreon.com/RomanOva Music or Subscribestar, and you can pledge any amount of money you want. We have different tiers available, and just leave a comment, like the video, subscribe. Definitely become a subscriber, okay? And if you want some further help, you can go on my website and get some lessons from me personally, private lessons from me, all right? Very intimate experience, not in a weird way, you frickin' freaks. In a decent way, in a good way, where we're going to learn a lot of stuff. And I can guarantee that you'll learn the difference between major and minor very, very simple and very, very easily. Simply and easily, I should say. Sometimes my grammar escapes me on these videos because I just fly off the cuff, man. That's what I got to do. Well, anyway, that's going to be it. Thank you so much, and arrivederci, everybody.